This is something that was always very confusing to me, particularly when I was a little kid. I never understood why people hurt other people. I mean, without provocation, apparently for no reason whatsoever, than the sheer pleasure of hurting other people. I've always struggled with understanding that. But now that I'm pushing 70 years old, I've got about 7 decades behind me, and I've got some insight based on hindsight, sharing some of those things with you, which is why we do these videos. I now am able to see a little bit clearer, get a little bit better perspective of why it is that narcissists feel that they must hurt us. All right, let's take a look at some of those reasons. Now, it depends. Number one, let's phrase it this way, is there is a difference between an overt and a covert narcissist in how they approach you, how they hurt you. An overt narcissist will hurt you by saying or by implying that I am smarter than you. They may just flat out say it. But covert narcissists do it a little bit differently, at least in my experience. And covert narcissists are the ones that we tend to worry about because they seem to be the most dangerous. But they don't say that I'm smarter than you. They will say, you are dumber than me. Now, they may not say it in those words, but they will imply it. They will grab something out of your hand because they can do it better. They will talk over top of you because they can say it better. They can do anything and everything better than you, and they have to prove that. So why do they do that? Why do they have to hurt you? And by the way, it's not just you they're hurting. Chances are, if you have a narcissist in your life, this is an individual who has a whole slew of people they're hurting at the same time. And they discard one, they've got another one. They discard that one, they've got another one. They go through, I've seen people go through their entire lives doing this. Why do they do that? Well, they do it ultimately because they need that sense of self-esteem, rather. They need to hurt you because it makes them feel strong. Because they don't feel strong, they feel weak. And so they put you down to make you a little bit shorter than they are. Does that make sense? Yeah. Number two is this. Narcissists tend to disconnect from self. That is to say, they disconnect from reality. Now, you can't really help somebody who will not accept the fact that they have a problem that needs help. You ever been sick, got a cold, maybe got the flu, whatever? What do? You got a headache? What do you do? Well, you say, I got a headache. So if you have any sense, you may take some medication. You know, talk to your doctor. Doctor says, yeah, take Tylenol, whatever. So you do that. I mean, that is common sense, right? You got a problem, you deal with it. Well, not true with narcissists. Narcissists, they have a problem, and they say, you need to take some Tylenol. Well, I don't have a headache. Yeah, you got a headache. The way they deal with their problems, narcissists deal with their inferiority, is by taking that inferiority and imposing it on other people. We call that projection. You've heard about this probably 1,000,000 times. But in so doing, they are disconnecting themselves from themselves. They are disconnecting themselves from reality. They are creating a new reality, a new world in which you are the one with a headache. Sounds silly. Now, it's metaphorically, that's a metaphor, obviously, but can you cure a headache by pretending someone else has your headache? Obviously not. Otherwise, we'd all be doing it, right? But that's effectively what a narcissist does. A narcissist puts other people down. He or she, that narcissist that's in your life right this very minute, if it's a true narcissist, I can almost guarantee you that that person at this very moment is busy putting you down through a smear campaign, maybe one-on-one, belittling you, trying to ridicule you in public. They are doing that because they are disconnecting themselves from the reality that that is who they are, and they're finding their flaws in you. Number three is they acquire supply by dominating, and when we say dominating, we mean by hurting others. So they need supply. And I always like to describe what supply is because it's one of those universal terms that could mean just about everything. But you need supply, right? For example, you need food to eat to survive. You need air to breathe. You need water to drink. You have emotional needs that need to be fulfilled. You have social needs that need to be fulfilled. You have all these things, all these areas of supply. Now, what if you are somebody who is dependent on some substance? Well, that's a whole different kind of supply. I mean, this is an acquired supply, need for something. Now, a narcissist has this drive, this need to have his or her ego constantly inflated. I mean, perpetually, constantly, nonstop. How are they going to do that? Well, they need supply, not food supply, not water supply, not necessarily emotional supply, but sometimes, but they need ego supply. Well, that's really weird. Yeah, but there are people out there like that. We call them narcissists. They are trying to get that fix to boost their ego, and if it's not constantly in a perpetual state of being inflated, they go crazy. Because it hurts it. They're going to have to face reality that they're not the big shot they think they are. And they are dependent on that. And they're looking for somebody who is soft enough they can take advantage of you. And who is that person? Well, it's you. So what do? Well, you understand this person is hurting me for a reason. And that reason is because I am allowing him or her to take advantage of me to boost their ego at my expense. There comes a point in time where you just have to disengage, best you can. I understand if it's a friend, if it's a relative, if it's somebody close to you, maybe a coworker, you can't just quit your job, can't just divorce your entire family to get away from this person, but you can do what you can to put a stop to this person sucking the supply out of you. And by the way, as we mentioned earlier, they're not just doing it to you, they're doing it to a lot of people. Number 4 is they need the spin to defend themselves. Now, what we're talking about again is why is it that narcissists feel that they must hurt you? Well, they need the spin to defend themselves. Now, we talk about a smear campaign, you know what that is. So this narcissist has wedged his or her way into your life. They do that by love bombing originally. They do that, as you know, by grooming you, pretending to become your friend, your trusted ally. Then once they got your confidence, the con man comes out and they start taking advantage of you. And a part of that is, okay, they know that you're going to be onto them eventually. And then you're going to start mentioning that to other people. They know that. I mean, they've been around the block a few times. They know how this game works. So the way they control that is they beat you to the punch. They start trash talking you to other people. They start the smear campaign early so that when you just honestly are telling friends or family members that, hey, this guy is taking advantage of me, then your friends and family say, no, I think it's the other way around. You're taking advantage of him. That's called a smear campaign. And in some cases, it becomes gaslighting if you start to believe it. So why do they do that? Because they are defending themselves. One of the reasons a narcissist will hurt you is just to defend themselves, to defend their fake reputation. Where are we here? Number 5, rather, is to control the narrative. And we just touched on this, so let's expand on it for just a moment. But what the narcissist needs to do, he or she needs to convince others that you are the problem. Now, I've dealt with several narcissists or people with strong narcissistic tendencies in my life, and they all have the same trait, is they find it absolutely positively essential to convince others that you are the problem. That's why they hurt you. Because, well, what if they don't do that? What if, I mean, it's obvious this person is a problem. Well, if everybody knows that a narcissist is the problem, what happens to the narcissistic supply? It just dries up. I mean, the narcissist can't attach himself or herself to anyone else because everybody's onto him. So what they do is what we talked about earlier, is they spin to defend, and then they control the narrative, and then they have all the supply intact, and it's all based on one big lie, and you are paying for it. They hurt you because they want to control you. They want to control you, obviously. I think it should be obvious because you are a source of supply. You are supplying their ego boost. You can't go anywhere. You have to be in their influence in their circle of influence constantly. And when they find they can no longer control you, then they discard you. You are gone out of their lives. Now, they may come back later, try to pull you back into their lives, or it may be a final discard once and forever. By the way, that's usually a good thing when they discard you. But you got to keep in mind is even after they discard you, they are still trying to control the narrative. They're still trying to convince everybody else that you are and were the bad guy. They must at all cost defend their costume, defend their mask, defend their false persona, absolutely positively. So they have to control you, but even after they discard you, they're still controlling the narrative, or they're trying to. You got to be aware of that before it happens, because and a lot of times you just can't do it because you don't see it coming. But one way to defend yourself is to make sure that others understand what you're going through and that they can be influenced by this other person. Number 7, why do narcissists hurt you? Narcissist will hurt you. Narcissist will hurt you to create a sense of superiority. It's a false sense of superiority, but it is a sense of superiority nonetheless. Now, it's not necessarily just feeling superior over you, but convincing others that they are superior over you. Does that make sense? So it's not just that they want to control you because you are feeling this person is stronger, but they want everyone else to see the narcissist as the stronger person. Maybe not physically stronger, but stronger in the sense that they are the one who is upright and honest and true, and they're the good guy. They're creating a false sense of superiority. And the one thing that every narcissist fears the most, we've talked about this many times, is when that sense of superiority, that false superiority, comes tumbling down, and people realize, hey, this guy that we thought was such a cool guy, nothing but a grifter, nothing but a scamster, nothing but somebody who hurts other people. So why is it that a narcissist feels that he or she must hurt you? Ultimately, it boils down to elevating themselves, inflating themselves. That's what that's what it's all about. Do you see those two rectangles on the screen? If you want our conversation to continue, all you need to do is click one of those two rectangles and we keep talking together. But if not, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you all later.